Okay, so in the grand scheme of things, I'm a little bit late. I'm probably late by, 2 weeks now. But I wanted to talk about this whole Trump conviction that recently happened. Because even though Democrats and the left and all that, they want to celebrate it like it's something awesome because that's all they've been after the whole time, after Trump constantly, since since he became president. And now they feel like they got him. But there's a lot of bad to this. First off, to start, this is a very bad precedent to begin, um, because currently presidents have always had qualified immunity, and they have qualified immunity for a whole bunch of reasons, including um, just the actions of the presidency, declaring war and what have you. I mean, it makes it so that if any president could be persecuted, then it's like you almost are walking on eggshells about everything. And then how do you run the country if you're constantly worried, oh, if I do this, I might get persecuted. Oh, if I do this, I might get persecuted. The other reason, which quite possibly is even a bigger reason why presidents get qualified immunity, is because you can't properly have a fair jury when it comes to presidents, because A, you have obviously two sides. You have the supporters and the people that are against them. So how do you come up with a jury for that? You're either going to have a whole bunch of people that are anti this person and they're just going to want to try to convict them, or you have a whole bunch of people that are pro this person, which they're just going to be like, yeah, he's innocent. You might be able to get a few that are in between, like libertarians or whatever, but they're still not going to fully be neutral because they're still going to have some sort of opinion, regardless if they are a full-on Democrat or Republican. They'll still have an opinion, which subconsciously that opinion will end up skewing them to either convict or to find innocent. So that's another reason why there's always been qualified immunity. And another reason is, a jury is supposed to be a jury of your peers, but a president doesn't really have peers unless you have other presidents on the jury. It's kind of the only way to make that work. You can't, a jury of your peers is supposed to be a bunch of people that are they can relate to you in a way. Like, oh, we're all middle class people. We all work 9 to 5. We all do this. People that are similar to the guy on the on the stands, the one that's being convicted. When you're a president, regular people don't relate to that. So only people that could relate are other world leaders. So, yeah. Anyways, so now that this happened, what does this mean going forward? Is this going to be a tit for tat? So now say Trump wins again in 2025, which he will. Well, 2024, but his term won't start till 2025. You know what I mean. But anyways, what happens then? Now we can go after Biden. But then what happens after Trump's second term's over? Now they go after him again. Then the president that's after Trump, they go after him when his term's over. Like, what happens? Is this just become a constant thing then? Now you're always going to go after your the previous president? This sets a very bad start of a precedent, not president, precedent. Also, this is a move that, like, banana republics, or I don't know what you want to call them, like Russia. Russia's not really a banana republic, but it's a place that tries to stifle political opposition, and that's basically what's happening. Biden used his DOJ to go after Trump, and because that's his main political rival. I mean, seriously, they've all said, not they mean Democrats, but just everybody speculates that if Trump didn't go to run for a second term, nobody would have done anything to him. He would have just been fine. He would have been a normal, regular citizen again, just former president. But because he wants to run again, this is what Biden does. Oh, you're my main opponent? Well, I'll just do this. I'll put the DOJ after you. I mean, we all say Biden, but we know it's not really Biden. The guy's got Alzheimer's. He doesn't even know where he is half the time. He wakes up in the White House and doesn't even know where he is. He's in the bed and has no idea where he is. So obviously, he's not smart enough to be able to tell his DOJ to go after Trump. But somebody in his team, hiding behind the scenes, using him as the front man, is making this happen. This also opens up a whole bunch of other, I guess you could say, can of worms, because everybody, well, Democrats don't like how Trump always said that that the election was fraud, which, let's be real, it was. There's tons and tons and tons of evidence. I mean, Biden supposedly got 81 million votes, but yeah, anytime he does a speech, what's he have? He has like 12 people in the audience. Don't you think if the guy really got a ridiculous amount of votes, he would have packed stadiums? I mean, let's also be real. typically Democrats are losers. They're people who don't work. It's the Republicans that actually have jobs. That's why a lot of times Democrats can win elections, because Republicans aren't going out to vote because they got to be at work. Democrats have all the time in the world, so they can go to the polls and vote. Either they're retired or they're just losers who are like on welfare, and they're like, yeah, I can go vote. Where regular people like me got jobs, and we don't have time, or two jobs even, like me. You don't have time to be dicking around going to the polls and spending however long it takes there so you can vote. And then Republicans lose, but the majority is Republican. So anyways, point is if there was 81 million losers with no jobs that wanted to go vote for you, don't you think you'd be able to pack out a stadium a little bit better than just 12 people? The other thing is, just all the other evidence about how it's fake. Dead people somehow voting, multiple names voting. You're supposed to have one vote per person, but somehow some people were able to vote multiple times. That seems legit. Or else the massive influx of votes that they had at, 3 a.m, all of a sudden tons of votes for Biden out of nowhere. That seems valid. But anyways, let's just pretend that this was real. I mean, at this point, this loser's term's almost over anyway, so it makes no difference to argue about the validity of the election. But point is they don't like hearing when Trump says this, but if he loses in 2024, which A, he won't, and B, he better not. You thought 2020 was bad? The claims by not only Trump, but just all the Republican base are going to be insane. They're going to be like, okay, you went after this guy so hardcore, you got a conviction on him, and then somehow he loses again, even though just about every poll, has him way up and everything, but now somehow you guys won again? Yeah, it's going to make whole new record levels of claims that the election's not valid. Anyways, it's also funny too, because the Democrats, at least Biden, he's always, the mega Republicans are a threat to democracy, which never makes any sense at all. How is being able to have an option, Democrat or Republican or independent, because RFK's doing pretty well too, not as well as them two, but he's not doing bad for an independent. But how is having options bad for democracy, a threat to democracy? Isn't that the whole point? Democracy is supposed to be to have options. I mean, we probably should have more than just two options on average. Then it'd be even more truer like democracy. I mean, we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. But, if you want to go with that and pretend that we are a democracy, shouldn't we have more options than just two people to begin with? That way then you really have a wide range of options to choose from, and then whoever does win is really like the popular choice instead of just two people, you know what I mean? But this is not working. But anyways, but yeah, Biden's always talking about that. Threat to democracy, which I don't understand. Like, the Democrats, have been nothing but threats to democracy with how they, are doing this nonsense right now with Trump, trying to, imprison a political opponent, or how they, did the forced mandates with COVID for the COVID vaccines, made military people get those vaccines, made basically all federal employees, forced you to. It wasn't an option, forced you to. And trying to force the stupid electric cars, which are extremely impractical. We do not have a grid for that. Electric cars are junk. I hear ads all the time acting like it's so good. You can get up to 300 miles in a full charge. Like, they try to make it sound like that's far, and I'm like, 300 miles? I get 624 miles in a full tank of gas in my car, and it takes me 5 minutes to fill it. Literally 5 minutes. I've timed it before. 5 minutes flat, 624 miles. You're telling me that these stupid cars can only get 300 miles, and you're going to charge them for how long? Like 2 hours? Geez, if you relate this to like a phone, my phone takes, if it's from dead to fully charged, it's at least 2 hours? So I would assume a car is probably the same. So I got to wait 2 hours to get half the distance? So I got to spend 4 hours to go the same amount of distance my car can do on one tank of gas that took me 5 minutes? No thanks. But yeah, trying to push that. But, somehow the Republicans are the threat to democracy. But yeah, it's just ironic because, that's what they always want to say. But then they do this, putting Trump up, trying to convict him and stuff, interfering with his election. All that time in court was time that he wasn't able to be out campaigning for himself and meet and greets and all this, which actually worked to his benefit because, now he was getting free publicity with people talking about his trial and being in the newspapers, front page and stuff. And, you know, once he got the conviction, too, that really blew his not popularity, but his support out of the water. I mean, he had that, 24 hours, he pulled what was it, $200 million in campaign funds from that conviction. So, in a way, even though he wasn't able to go out and campaign for himself, it kind of worked way better for him than if he was actually out campaigning, probably. But still, the attempt was there to interfere with the main political rival. But, Republicans are the threat to democracy. Anyways, let's talk about the actual trial itself, because that's what I really want to talk about in this. Not all that back stuff. Yeah, it's terrible for the country moving forward, but as far as for Trump is concerned, it was very biased and very unfair towards him. Even though they'll all say, like Biden gave that speech after, and oh yeah, this was a fair trial, blah 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 blah, with his peers, yee. But here's the thing. First off, he was tried in New York, in a very blue section of New York. Okay, like, obviously, those people are not pro-Trump in that area. They're going to be pro-Biden. New York is a blue state to begin with, so there's a double negative for him. But then on top of that, he's in a very blue county, or whatever, town, county, whatever the heck you want to say, city. Second off, you have Alvin Bragg, who, when he was elected, his whole purpose was to go after Trump. He didn't even have anything he wanted to go after him for. It was just his whole thing was, yep, I'm going to get him. Then you have this douche judge who was kind of like go against Trump. I mean, in the end, when he was talking to the jurors, he said, you don't even have to agree on what you want to convict him on. As long as you all can come up with, yes, that you think he's guilty to something, then we can convict him. Normally it's supposed to be unanimous. In this case, it didn't even have to be unanimous, and it wasn't. I think you had, obviously there's 12 jurors, and I think there was 3 groups of convictions. So 4 people said, oh yeah, I believe on this one. Another 4 said, yeah, this one. Another 4 said, yeah, to this one. Not unanimous, though. Just 3 groups. But because they all agreed that they thought something you could convict him on. Oh, yeah, okay, we got it. There's the conviction. We got him. That's not how that works. The other thing is, these charges, first off, they're bogus. The charges that were brought against him were supposed to be for the hush money. And there's just tons of evidence surrounding that shows it's nonsense. I mean, you get the letter from Stormy Daniels saying that there was nothing of the sort. I don't know the full details on that, actually, but I think she gave a letter saying there was no hush money given to her because there was nothing to hush about. So that's one thing. Like, what happened with that? Nobody wanted to consider that. The second thing, though, is a hush money trial. Hush money is nothing illegal. It's what famous and rich people do all the time. So then they don't, like, get their reputation damaged or anything. They do something bad and then, here's $200,000. Please don't talk about this. There's nothing illegal about it. The third thing, though, is they try to say that Trump misreported his money. Misreported that hush money funds. And that's what they're trying to get him against. I don't know what the crime even would be. Tax evasion or something? I don't know. But here's the thing. First off, his accountant put it as lawyer fees. And why did they put it as lawyer fees? Because he gave the money to his lawyer to handle. So in a way, it is lawyer fees. He gave the money to his lawyer. Then his lawyer did something with it from there. So now his lawyer's accounting book should say, this much money was received from Trump. This much money was given to so-and-so for this reason. But Trump's books only need to say lawyer fees because, yes, I gave this much money to my lawyer. It doesn't have to say what it's for because he didn't give it to her. He gave it to a lawyer. But also, on top of all of this, even if you did put this as a crime, normally it's only a misdemeanor. But for this trial, they boosted it up to a felony. They found a way to bullcrap the books, rig it all up so then now it'd be a felony. And then the 34 counts is just trash too. Because what that was is, it's not like he had 34 times that he did this. Like, that's what you think when you hear 34 counts. Oh man, he did this 34 times. No, the 34 counts, they basically made like a RICO out of this. even though RICO usually extends to like mafias or whatever and big organizations where there's lots of people, they did like a self-contained RICO. They made it so that every single step of the way was a conviction, was a crime. So let's say Trump writes a check. Oh, there's one conviction. Gives it to his lawyer. Oh, there's conviction number 2. Gets in the books and it says lawyer fees. Oh, conviction number 3. Lawyer does something with a check. Oh, conviction number 4. They counted every single step of that check moving around as a separate conviction. So, if anything, if you want to convict him, it really should just be one conviction. You don't count every step of the way. You just do the one. You know what I mean? A serial killer doesn't get extra life sentences for each stab that he put into a person. It's no, you killed that one person. This is your life sentence. Not, well, you stabbed them 5 times, so that's 5 life sentences. That's not how that works. But, you know, when you got a rigged system and you're trying to achieve an end goal just because that's like your whole political stance currently, you do whatever you got to do to make it work, right? And then that's another thing too. They try to say, like, basically I alluded to this in the beginning. They try to say, oh, well, he had a jury of his peers assess the situation and they all determined blah, blah, blah. Was it really a jury of his peers though? I mean, we're talking about Trump. Trump is a guy who's been rich for like his entire life. Okay, not even just rich, like super rich. He's been a billionaire forever. He's known to have his gold-plated apartment, everything gold in there, even the toilet. So you're telling me that the jury was full of billionaires? Was the jury full of ex-presidents? No. So he wasn't with the jury of his peers. It was a bunch of regular people that probably didn't like him. Because that's the other thing. These people basically had it predetermined that they were going to convict him because one person had leaked it out to a cousin, I think, and said, oh, yeah, there's going to be a Trump conviction coming, which you're not supposed to talk about that stuff ahead of time. And since they did and it got leaked that they did, the good thing for Trump is this whole trial might be overthrown now because it's going to be considered a mistrial and all the evidence and all that is going to be thrown out because of that one juror, which is funny because that one juror was trying to like brag, you know, an anti-Trump person. Oh, yeah, we're going to convict them. And then look, it backfires because you did that. He's going to be able to get his charges dropped, which is fine because he shouldn't have charges in the first place. He literally did nothing wrong. If anything, like I said, just misdemeanor. But they beefed it up to make it a felony just because, you know, that's what they got to do. Got to get that narrative. Anyways, and then the other thing is, what is he even convicted of? I mean, seriously, it's just like Matt Walsh. What is a woman? What is he convicted of? Nobody really knows because he's not convicted of anything. Like I said, there was 3 groups of convictions in his one conviction. A conviction is supposed to be unanimous. If you're going to convict, it has to be unanimous. You can't have 3 little groups of 4 and be like, okay, yep, conviction. Yep. Yeah, the jury all agreed. Agreed to what? Well, they didn't agree on the same thing, but they all did say that they think he's guilty. Okay, well, that's not how this works. So he's a convicted felon. But nobody knows what he's actually convicted of. And it's funny because there is a video out there, an interview on, who was it with? Piers Morgan maybe, or somebody like that. Could be on like Jesse Waters or something. I don't know. But there's an interview out there and they ask, okay, so Trump's been convicted. What's he convicted of? And of course the person can't answer. They just do one of those things where they talk in circles. Oh, well, you know, he had his charges and blah, blah, blah. And now he's convicted. Okay, but yes, he had the charges and now he's had a conviction. What is the conviction? And they can't answer. Because nobody knows. He's not really convicted of anything. It's like somebody said, hey, do you want to convict him? Yes. Okay, he's convicted. Huh? Of what? Why? So, it's dumb. Anyways, since this was all a political stunt, though, it now comes down to the point of, like I said in the beginning, what's going to happen? Is this going to keep flip-flopping? Democrats, Republicans, Democrats, Republicans. Oh, we're going to go after you now for this. Oh, we're going to go after you. You know, and so now it would be Republicans' turn. You know, once Biden gets out. I mean, not like it matters. Biden's going to die soon anyways. The guy's got raging Alzheimer's. He's super frail. But still, like, is that what you're going to do? Go after him? And on the one hand, it's like, yeah, you should, because he actually is a criminal. Let's get an actual criminal convicted of his crimes. You know, all the nonsense, the money laundering, the big guy stuff, all those crimes, his son's crooked activities that he's been able to cover up all these years. You know, how does a guy who has a salary of like 150,000 a year become, have 35 million in the bank? How does that make any sense, Biden? Where'd you get that from? Must be from legal dealings from doing your job, right? Because your job pays you millions. So yeah, but here's the thing. Even though Republicans should go after him because they just should, at the end of the day, they shouldn't. I know, it's kind of contradictory, but you really shouldn't. You can't keep letting this happen. Yes, the Democrats broke a glass ceiling, and now they open up the doors for nonsense, but you can't have your country running this way. Especially a country that, I don't know, for the most part has been seen as like the leader of the world and stuff. The country that all other countries look to and, follow protocol from and everything. We can't be setting that example that, oh yeah, just go after your political opponents. That's something you look down on. That's something you look down on Putin for, because that's what he does. So you can't be doing that here. So even though Biden is an absolute criminal, what the Republicans need to do instead of potentially pursuing him when he's out of office is they need to come up with legislation that just gives presidents qualified immunity. That way then moving forward, it's just a thing. No, that's a thing. Can't do anything. Maybe even making an amendment to the Constitution. That way then moving forward, there is no more of this nonsense. You can't prosecute your political opponent. You can't prosecute a former president, because it's just not a good look for the country, and it's not a good thing moving forward. It's going to get to the point where nobody wants the position, because it's like, oh well, what's going to happen as soon as my term's up, and then I'm going to be persecuted for every little thing that might have happened. Oh, I didn't do this deal right with this country, so now they're going to persecute me. Oh, this war happened, and now they want to blame me because somehow I should have did something to prevent it. Like, you can't have that. It's not a good look. It's something that should have never happened. Alan Bragg's an idiot. The judge is an idiot. He should have just threw it out right away once it came across his desk. But like, I'm not looking at this, I'm not entertaining this. He's a former president. Don't waste my time with this. Boom, shut him down, meaning Alan Bragg. But no, they all allowed this to happen. Geez, even stupid Biden should have been like, okay, we shouldn't be doing this. I know he's my opponent, but he's also a former president. Like, this isn't how we function in this country. He could have done like an immediate pardon. Whatever you guys want to convict him of, I'm just going to pardon him ahead of time. There we go. Problem solved. Doesn't even matter. You don't need to have your trial. So, yeah. I think that's basically all my thoughts. I did have a little list that I wrote down. I did cover everything, I guess. I feel like there's more, but that's kind of the gist of it. It was a sham trial. It was a sham outcome, and it's bad look for the country. This is stupid. Democrats are stupid. Everybody knows that who has half a brain. And, all of them celebrating this just showcases the insanity. Like, you guys do not care about anything except for your feelings, basically. You don't care about your country. You don't care about tradition. You don't care about big picture things. You care about the here and now and how you feel. Here and now, oh, I don't like Trump just because the TV told me not to. Ooh, he got convicted. This is awesome. Well, there's more than just you. We're talking about a whole entire country. We're talking about 250 plus years. What is it? 268 years of tradition and all that, if you will. And just a way of law and a way of how things function and operate. And you're going to celebrate because, I don't like the guy. That's another thing, too. Jeez. They have Matt Walsh, what is a woman? Or I just said, what is Trump convicted of? That's another thing. Go on the streets and ask people, why don't you like Trump? I don't think anybody's done that yet. Somebody needs to. Hey, why don't you like Trump? They'd have no answer. They don't know why they don't like him. They just don't like him because CNN and MSNBC tell them not to. So they're like, okay, I don't like Trump. No reason. Just they're told to not like him. So, okay, TV, I don't like him. At least people on the right, like us, like me, who don't like Biden, we don't like him for a lot of valid reasons. We don't like how he vilifies half the country with his stupid MAGA Republicans are terrible all the time. We don't like how, he's basically a traitor. He's worried more about Ukraine, and potentially now he's going towards Hamas. He was aligned with Israel, but these losers who don't know anything and don't pay attention to society and history even and all that. They just think, oh, poor Palestinians, even though it's run by Hamas, which is a terrorist organization. But yeah, so they whine, and that's Biden's base. And now he's almost like turning to support Hamas. And it's like, what are you doing, you idiot? Have a backbone. Don't bend to these stupid people who don't know anything. But yeah, we also don't like how he's he basically was a dictator in the beginning. Geez, they're worried about Trump's joke with how he says he'd be a dictator for a day and that was it. Biden was a dictator for the first couple of weeks. He had tons of executive orders that he issued. He overthrew just about everything Trump did, which started the downfall of the country because Trump had a lot of good policies in effect, and this idiot comes in office and overthrows them just because Trump did them. Oh, we're not going to keep this anymore. It's a great policy, but we're just going to get rid of it. You know, then there was, like I said, the COVID vaccine mandates. There's how he's a failure, just a failure as a president. He, look at the economy. Everything is terrible in the economy. Gas prices, food, entertainment, you name it. It's way higher. There was that one period, I don't remember what year this was, but we had the baby food shortage even, and it was like, what kind of advanced country has a baby food shortage? What kind of advanced country can't feed their babies? Oh yeah, one under a traitorous moron. Then another thing we don't like about him is how he's like very disrespectful. Like that time when he kept walking on his watch for the servicemen. It's like, it's 13 guys. You can stand there, you idiot. It's your fault that they're no longer alive to begin with. You don't have to be rude on top of that and keep checking your watch, you dick. And then we also just don't like how he's got Alzheimer's. He keeps pooping himself. I mean, those are things he can't really help, but it's still not a good look. And then how he wants to run for a second term and wants to talk crap about MAGA Republicans and all this, though. It's like, bro, you're not even a functioning human anymore. Like, stop. And then we don't like him because how he's very divisive. He goes to Morehouse College and basically tells all those black students that, oh, America's racist. And it's like, what? Like, these kids, it's weird to say, but I guess they'd be kids, right? They're about young 20s, are graduating. Like, they're starting their lives. They have their degree. They're ready to get going, get a job, get their career started. And you're over here, like, bringing them down. Like, what's the matter with you, dickhead? And, yeah, the list just goes on and on and on for why we don't like Biden. But you ask a Democrat, and they don't have an answer. They just don't like him because they're told not to like Trump. I don't like him because he's a racist. What's your evidence for that? I can pull up tons of clips of Biden being racist if you'd like, but can you pull up one that Trump was racist in? No, you can't, because it don't exist. It's like... But anyways, I don't know what the point of that tangent was. I guess I just wanted to try to pad the runtime on this. So yeah, I guess that's all I got. I thought there'd be a little bit more, but I guess there's not, which is fine. This doesn't have to be super long. So yeah. Thanks for checking this out, and until next time, I said see ya.